Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome into First Pitch for Monday, August 22nd. I am Drew Martin, joined by Bryan Leonard and Tony Finn of WagerTalk.com. We're breaking down 3 games on tonight's slate. We got best bets at the end. Come and join us on the WagerTalk live chat box. We got the Cardinals and the Cubs, Mets and the Yankees, followed by the Brewers and the Dodgers, all before best bets. So, guys, let's get into it. Heading to the Windy City, we get the Cards and the Cubs. Bryan, coming to you first, we get Drew Smyly on the hill versus Jordan Montgomery. 2 lefties going at it, total of 8. We're seeing the Cardinals minus 150 to minus 155 favorites here. Are you liking anything in Wrigleyville tonight, Bryan?
Yeah, 2 guys that I'm looking to back a little bit in Montgomery and Smyly. Montgomery, since the trade, has just been terrific. Should not have been traded, and I think the Yankees are figuring that out right now, at least. We get traded for a guy who's still hurt. Drew Smyly's pitching very well. Both of these pitchers are very good in not allowing walks. 4.9% walk rate for Montgomery, 5.3 for Smyly. Smyly's been pitching really well lately. In fact, you take a look at his StatCast numbers. His exit velocity, 85.9, which is even better than Montgomery, so he keeps the opposition off balance. Hard hit rate, 33.9. So my original look here was slightly towards the under until I started looking at the splits lately for left-handed batters. Take a look at the last 30 days. St. Louis, WRC plus of 161. The Cubs, on the other hand, 81. So against lefties over the last month, St. Louis is hitting twice as well as the Chicago Cubs have been. So in that case, I'm not going to look at the under, especially the way St. Louis is hitting lefties. Slightly into St. Louis in this game. I've been doing pretty well backing the Cubs lately, but slightly into St. Louis here. Just the line is a little bit too much out of my range for me to get involved.
Like those stats, Bryan. Way to bring the heat here to start us off. Tony, coming to you next. To Bryan's point, the Cardinals, number 1 in baseball? You know, their win streak, 7 straight. Their run differential in this streak is 56-20. They've been blowing teams out here, Tony. First to 5 game set in Wrigleyville. Are you liking anything here in Chicago tonight?
Well, yeah. I listen. First and foremost, agree with Bryan. Smyly's better this year. If you look at his StatCast numbers or any of his any of the metrics that he has, he's shown some improvement this year over, he had to go back almost 3 years really to get numbers that are similar. And he avoids hard contact to a degree. Both these guys do. And exit velocity is acceptable, barrels as well. But these guys are still, especially Smyly, are still pedestrian as far as spin rate and extensions. And Montgomery has a better extension. But long story short on this is the Cubs offensively have some ability. They do have some ability. I last week or a while back, I started kind of swinging my pendulum towards, who are we going to play? Who are we going to fade? Who are we going to back during the month of September? And who has offensive potential? Who doesn't? The Cubs, one thing Cubs can do is line up 1 to 9. They can get streaky and they can put some runs up. I played them hard and heavy against the Washington Nationals, and the Nationals actually, the bullpen, Leiter, et cetera, for the Cubs really disappointed me. Now, I did end up breaking even, basically, or at least wash on that series. But long story short, yeah, I'm still going to look at Montgomery. I'm still going to look at St. Louis. Look at what St. Louis did this weekend. They almost disappointed us. I mean, I was to our meet and greet, for instance. I left the office to head to you guys, and it was 8-4. I thought, well, I had some alternate run lines on them, and and it was 8-7. Well, it ended up being 16 runs, in the last couple innings, the last inning, and XX, there's a bunch of runs. They have the ability to hit left-handers, hit them hard. They have the best OPS in baseball right now for the season against left-handers. They've been a right-handed fade for me. If they faced a quality right-hander, they were a fade for me. That's even got the numbers on that have even gotten a little better. So I kind of like at this point in time, it's hard not to like the St. Louis Cardinals even better than the Brewers to win that division in the last 40 so games.
Sure, and they're up 5 games here in the division, so they've really been on a heater. Talking about the Cardinals, 16-3 their last 19. And guys, if you play daily fantasy, little tidbit here: Albert Pujols versus lefties. His last 11 at bats, he's 8 for 11 with 5 home runs off of lefties. He's facing a lefty tonight, so might want to put Albert in your lineup. Next game up, 2 of 3 here, heading to the Subway Series. Tony, coming to you first. Mets and Yankees, Scherzer versus German, 7.5 being the total. Mets minus 155 favorites. You liking anything Mets and Yankees tonight, Finn?
What I like and what makes sense are contrary in this game, to be honest with you. Although I talked to the great Teddy Covers this weekend, he asked me a little bit something, and I basically said, at this point in time, you fade these Yankees until they prove otherwise. Now, they did win last night. They won yesterday afternoon. But I put a little something on Twitter, too. One of my, sometimes in our business, we need a little comic relief, a nice place to relax and enjoy ourselves rather than worrying about every pitch of every game that we're on. And one of them was to go to Ellis Island, the riverboat, or the hot tub riverboat tour, and watching the Yankees swing the bat, because it's been miserable. It's been absolutely miserable. And if you look at some of those numbers and what they've done over the last month, it's almost an epic fade by them. They still have an 8-game lead. But how do you bet against Scherzer? Scherzer, should I say? And while Herman's numbers have been really good, if you look at him, even his WHIP, his ERA, his surface numbers, they're all in line with his sabermetrics, with his metrics. But the Mets are doing. They're much more balanced right now. They still sometimes don't show up offensively like the Yankees have for a month. But I'm having a hard time, and I know that. My esteemed colleague here, both of you guys are going to probably disagree with that. It's time for the Yankees to bust out. Maybe it's the Subway Series, or maybe it's against Scherzer. It's hard for me to stand in front of Scherzer and the Mets offense right now against Herman and the Yankees, who can't put bat on ball, even at $1.50.
I'm with you, Tony. I think it's tough to step in front of the Metropolitans tonight, Brian. The Yankees. Interesting stat here. They're looking for their first back-to-back wins in quite some time, actually. Let's see here. Actually, it's only for the second time since the All-Star break that they're going to maybe get back-to-back wins if they're able to win tonight. It just kind of speaks to the slump that the Yankees are really in here, Brian, and kind of the I guess we could say fall off a cliff here. They really haven't been a good team. Aaron Judge, 4 for his last 30. You think they can kind of break out of this after yesterday's win, Brian?
Yeah, he's gone, I believe, 10 days before hitting a home run. In order to speed up the show a little bit, I am going to pass right now, but I will let everybody know this is going to be my best bet. So once we get to the best bet segment, I'll come back in and I'll give you my opinion on this. But as of now, let's get to the third game here so we can check out and handicap another contest.
All right, heading out west, Southern California. Brian, coming to you first. LA Dodgers, Milwaukee Brewers, 10-10, the nightcap for the card, the nightcap for the show here. Eric Lauer versus Julio Urias. 2 lefties going at it again here, Brian. Total of 8. Big favorite in the Dodgers, minus 250. What do you suggest doing in the nightcap, Brian?
Yeah, I've got Eric Lauer on my fantasy baseball team, and he's having a really good season. But I don't trust them to go up against this LA Dodgers offense at home. Situation right now, they're over 250. It's basically stayed that way all day long. It's when people talk about teams to win the National League and all, just keep in mind here, we've got the Dodgers at home is about a 250 favorite against the Brewers, a team that is very much in the playoff position. Just tells you what the lineup or the sports books think of the LA Dodgers. If you're looking to play one of these lesser teams, the St. Louis's, the Milwaukee's, that kind of thing in the playoffs, maybe you're just better off playing it once you get to that point. Because right now, if the Dodgers laying 250 in this game at home, they'll be laying, something like that, which is what, 28% chance of winning, something like that. So it's a situation where Milwaukee's good, St. Louis is good, but they're still going to have to play the Dodgers come the playoffs. But getting back to this game, I prefer the Brewers here slightly, but I'm not going to get involved. It's like I said, it's the Dodgers at home, and when you take a look at Urias, he's having a tremendous season, all red across the board in his StatCast preview. 5.2 walks percentage, exit velocity 86.6, hard hit rate only 29.3. He's not only very talented, he's keeping the opposition off balance. He's done it all year. This is a guy you're looking to back. You made a lot of money if you played him so far. So the only reason I think the Brewers have any value at all is when you have a team that's going to make the playoffs and you're getting him as a 250 underdog. It's a situation where you got to give them a little bit of a look in that regard. But I won't be getting involved in this one. It'll just be that game that you talk about in my best bet.
Bryan, I have a follow-up question to you because, talking about the Dodgers here, this big favorite, 84-36 on the year, and they're 18 games ahead of the Padres in the division. So pretty much locking up a playoff spot here. Down the stretch, are you looking to bet them, possibly even fade them down the stretch to make some money? I mean, has any of those kind of, I guess, what type of, are you even going to look to bet the Dodgers at all down the stretch?
You can bet the Dodgers if you're getting some value in the line, unfortunately. And I was talking to somebody about this a couple days ago. I'm pretty much an underdog player in Major League Baseball. And when the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers are all winning and winning big, it's tough to play against those teams. It's just the way it is. There's so much talent on this Dodgers team. They can blow out anybody at any time, and they have. In fact, they had that streak earlier in the season where they were winning the run lines. What were they, 22 on the run line? That's pretty impressive. So it's a situation where the Dodgers are always going to have some sort of value unless the line gets too high. And right now it's just too high. But the Dodgers have been dealing with this for the last few years. San Francisco gave them a pretty good regular season run last year, but you have to go back and take a look at what the Dodgers have done the last month of the season. I don't remember offhand. But if they're a team that pulls some starters or whatever, it's usually a situation you can go against. But keep in mind, the Dodgers have so much money and so much talent in the minors. Their minor leaguers are actually major league type of players right now. You take a look at the guys that they brought up to pitch like 1 or 2 games. They've been great. So we'll have to see. But it's hard to make a comment on that without knowing what the current lines are.
Okay. Tony, coming to you in conclusion here. Dodgers Stadium, we get the Brewers 5 games back of the Cardinals, a game and a half back in the wild card race, and the Dodgers 39-8. Man, what a run they've been on. In Urias in particular, Tony, his last 11 starts, he's 10-0 with a sub-2 ERA. The lefty from Culiacan, Mexico. He's been bet on all the way. I don't know about minus 250 tonight, Tony. What are you thinking?
Well, I think that's a fair. You're not going to get any value on the Dodgers. Come on, guys. I mean, what Bryan just outlined for us is accurate, and getting value on the Dodgers or the Yankees or a number of teams right now. You can still get value on the Orioles simply because of their starting pitching. They don't have any headliners. They don't have any big feature guys that make the books go out and shade a team one way or the other because of the starting pitching, which they do because Joe Public, for the most part, looks at starting pitching. Even if you just ask a random individual at a sports bar, said, who do you like between the Yankees and the Mets? They say they're either going to tell you the Yankees. It's changed a little bit, or they're going to say who's pitching. And they don't ask who's hitting, who's hurt, and those are the questions you're going to receive, and that's what at least the opening line is based on. Lauer, if he comes out with command early on, he can compete. But let's be honest. What Bryan said, what you guys have talked about, and that is depth, pitching, hitting. If you look at the guys on the injury report and what the Dodgers have done, I mean, look at who's on this injury report. The Gonsolins, right? Urias is, you can make an argument, he's the ace. You're on the Dodgers tonight against Lauer and the Brewers who are not hitting the ball, or you're not in this game. And I don't play run lines on home teams. Outside of my dead president's report, where I'm playing alternate lines, it's different, and there's different formula for that particular brand of handicapping than it is straight up. You can do team totals, guys. Team totals with the Dodgers. Look at the pitching matchups, etc. There's lots of ways to bet the Dodgers without having to lay that $1.250.
Like what you said there about the not laying the run line with the home teams. Of course, guys, a lot of people forget, if you're new to betting baseball, that means you only get 8 at bats, and your opponent gets 9 at bats. Keep that in mind. 3 less outs, and you have to win by more than 1 run. So that's why, a main reason why Tony said that. Guys, we always appreciate the questions. Everybody joining us live in the live chat box here on Wager Talk YouTube. And also, if you ever watching on replay, which at the Wager Talk meet and greet, a lot of you guys meeting you, which was awesome. Let me know that you do watch it on replay, after work, at lunch, whatever the case may be. So that's always cool. Please smash the like button and appreciate the questions. Want to shout one out here. Tony, I think you got something on it from Johnny Gobble in last week's shows. Say, Drew, great show. Maybe next time you get Bryan or Finn on. Of course, both of them on the same show. So we're in luck here. Ask about spin velocity of current pitchers. Verlander is back up to his velocity when sticky stuff was allowed, and it appears umps are not enforcing it on him now. Career year at 38. Come on. I don't know. What are we thinking here, Tony? Anything on spin velocity going forward in betting baseball?
Well, I definitely track and follow spin velocity and et cetera, and velocity, period. And baseball players are, of the professional athletes, North American sports, baseball players are the most creative. They have a little more time, especially pitchers, catchers. I mentioned this when the three of us were talking earlier, and that is that they are creative. They find ways to gain an edge. Whether that edge is, in your mind or anyone's mind for that matter, legally illegal, against the rules, skirting the rules, working around, it's pretty human nature. We all do that. We find ways to, cut corners if as long as we're not going to, be violated too severely. And they'll find ways to do it. For the most part, though, they're going to find a substance. They're going to find a way to get a better grip. I still think that substances they're absent from. If you look at hits batters, for instance, I think that more than anything, if you watch games like I do, I'll watch games, an array of them. I still see an awful lot of pitchers completely losing the ball out of their hand, maybe on a curveball, a 12-9, 9-12, whatever the case, 12-6 or 6-12, whatever the case may be. They're losing the ball completely and hitting batters. So most guys still aren't using the substance, but the good ones that have a reputation and have a salary to earn for their team are finding ways to get that stickier, get that grip back, and get that velocity. You'll see guys like Verlander was mentioned. He's back to that sticky kind of velocity and spin rotation. But Verlander's pretty talented, and we have to account to some of the TJS that he's coming off of. He came off it quicker than I can remember anyone coming off it, and I think you're going to see that moving forward. I think you'll see the velocity come back. I think you'll see the movement come back, vertical, horizontal, etc. But I like the question because I'm following it.
Interesting. And to finish it off here, guys, if you're listening on audio only, La Russa is just the man to call it for a check in the playoffs, and this could have a big impact. So thanks for the question, Johnny Gobble. And yes, something to watch, guys, that spin rate, sticky stuff. And to Tony's point, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's what they say in NASCAR, right, Tony? So maybe the same in baseball as well. As we got best bets coming up here, guys. Tony, Finn, Tijuana Tony, to some. People are liking that in the Wager Talk meet and greet, Tony. And you're a big fan Irish John in the house? He was loving you, Tony. There was a
Irish
lot of
John.
people saying hello.
Yeah, Irish John and Mary, his wife, were quite.
Yeah.
Listen, they're invited to any party I have. They were a lot of fun. So, not that I have a lot of parties, so let's don't go there. But not at my age. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm one of those that thought maybe that meet and greets weren't the best idea, but I enjoyed myself. I really did, and I think you guys did too.
Yeah, look for it next year. Brian, what were your thoughts on the past weekend, man? Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's just amazing how the younger guys like yourself were able to stay up and do everything that we used to do. But I got to give a credit to like Steve Merrill's an older guy like myself, and Carmine's up there in age, and hey, they were hanging out and partying too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I got to tell you, after Teddy's party on Friday and they get together on Saturday, my wife was exhausted. She just couldn't wait to hit the bed on Saturday night. So it took it out of my wife. But yeah, it was still a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. It was great meeting everybody. Antonio, Mr. Lucky out there, Irish John, his wife Mary, Steve Lambert. So many people. It was a great time. Antonio as well. So I know Brian Leonard, Tony Finn, good times. Guys, check them both out, WagerTalk.com. It's $9 Monday. They both know their baseball, both know their football, as well as we got week 0 college football kicking off this week. Yes, it's game week. Kicks off in Ireland, I believe, the Big Ten. And then Saturday action followed by next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all the way through. And then NFL week 1 the next week. So look out for packages, WagerTalk.com, $9 Monday today. So let's start off with best bets. Brian Leonard for the last 5 Major League Baseball seasons in the profits. Brian, anything you think the watchers need to know about out there, what you got going on at WagerTalk.com, and where are you going for final thoughts and best bets for the show?
Yeah, up on the website right now. I've already ventured into the first week of the NFL. Got a 5% play in the NFL week 1. Also have 2 plays up for $9 Monday today, but this is going to be one of those 2 that we're going to give you here for the best bets. So if you're looking for the other, it's up on the site. Been on a real nice run on Major League Baseball underdogs. 4 straight winning days. So let's get you another winning day today. And I'll come back and play contrarian on a game we touched on a little bit earlier, and that was the Yankees game against the Mets. Yes, the Yankees have stunk it up for the last month or so, and the Mets are playing great ball. I love the moves the Mets made during the trade deadline. That all said, we're getting a team in the New York Yankees here. The Mets are about, let's check this current line here. The Mets are about a 150 to 155 favorite here on the road against a team in the Yankees, which are 43-20 at home on the season. I love Scherzer. Scherzer's going to be up for this game in the Bronx and getting to play against the Yankees. But Scherzer, as much as I like Scherzer, he's a fly ball pitcher. And if you take a look at his stats on the season, he's got a fly ball percentage of 51.5. That's the highest fly ball percentage in Major League Baseball today. All the players have a lower fly ball percentage. And so he's been a little bit lucky. He plays in a ballpark in New York, in which Citi Field is a good pitcher's ballpark. In fact, it's a great pitcher's ballpark. It could be one of the best in the National League, if not the best anymore. But his home run to fly ball percentage is only 6%. He's been getting very lucky on these fly balls, and that's because he pitches in Citi Field. This is a totally different ballpark for him, going up against those lefties, that short right field in Yankee Stadium. I don't think he's going to have as much success here. Herman, if you take a look at the BABIP on the board today, he's got the highest BABIP out of every pitcher going today, so he's been a little bit unlucky. And I think he hasn't pitched as well this year as he has in the past. Of course, he's coming off of injuries. But to get the Yankees at home in this price range against the Mets, it's a spite play. You got to play the Yankees, as Tony mentioned and you mentioned. I mean, you both like the Mets. The general public is going to come in on the Mets with Scherzer. I'll take the team with the 43-20 record, even though they're not playing well. I know they're not playing well, but this team could turn it around at any time with a couple long balls, and we'll see what happens. And maybe they'll get their second win in a row for the first time in a long time here, but I'll take the dog.
All right, Brian. Guys, I'm going to, for my best bets here, to Wrigley Field in the Cardinals. -1.5, +100. I think they're going to win by margin here over the Cubs. Couple reasons why. It's the hottest team in baseball, winning 7 straight games, 56-20, the run differential in the positive in that 7-game win streak. Look, it's a first of 5 game set, and they're 16-3 their last 19. And here's the real deal. Their offensive production the last week, this is the hottest team in baseball, the hottest lineup, over a 1,000 team OPS the last week. There's only one other team with over an 800, that's the Phillies. So more than 200 points higher in team OPS than the second hottest team in Major League Baseball. So I like riding those kind of hot lineups. Pujols against lefties, 8 for his last 11 with 5 home runs. Talked about it earlier. Put him in your fantasy lineups if that's your sport. But hey, for the show, best bet for me, I am on the Cardinals run line +100. Throw it over to Tijuana, Tony Finn. Final thoughts for the show. Take it away, man.
Final thoughts is I don't have much of a final thought. I think that today's card's pretty. Well, it's about as chalky as a teacher that hasn't washed her chalkboard in quite some time is.
That's all.
But we're
you
gonna
got?
go. That's all I got. That's all I ever got. But I'm gonna go out west here, and I'm not gonna. I really wanted to play. I'm one of those that faded Oakland early in the season. They swung the pendulum a little bit and got better. In June, et cetera, et cetera. They started playing just with some degree. It looked like they were playing with passion, but this is a team that's they've been beating that drum and basically playing for nothing, or at least playing for the draft picks and who Oakland is. But Edward Cabrera and Miami, I really wanted to play Oakland against Miami. Simply the fact is, I think they've scored more than 3 runs in like 3 of their last 20, 25 games, whatever the case may be. It's ridiculous how they cannot hit the baseball. And he's been better. He's really been better rather than go that way, because Miami's an actual $135, $140 favorite in the Coliseum. And if I'm going to be on Oakland or fading Oakland, it's going to be as a favorite at home, not as a dog like that at home. I'm going to go to Edward Cabrera and his strikeouts thrown tonight, over 5.5. Since he's returned to the lineup, guys, if you throw out one game of his bunch, he had one start that was messy, if I'm not mistaken. Long story short, and this is his last 3 starts, no earned runs. 3 starts back at Wrigley. 5 no-hit innings with 8 strikeouts against 3 walks. He does have, because of his strikeout, the movement, his fastball movement, and spin velocity of his arsenal. He's live. He's a live pitcher. He's a part of this 2023 rotation of the Marlins as they keep grinding pitcher after pitcher after pitcher out. I like over 5.5 on Cabrera against the A's and their right-handed metrics, or at least their pitching, or their hitting against right-handed pitchers, 25% strikeout rate, et cetera, et cetera. Cabrera, over 5.5 strikeouts from the Marlins tonight in the Coliseum.
Like that pick, staying away from the Marlins offense as well. 22 straight games with 4 runs or less. Edward Cabrera, over 5.5 strikeouts, -125 for Tony Finn. New York Yankees, +144 for Bryan Leonard. I am on the Cardinals, -1.5. Run line, +100. Huge shout out to the chat box, like always, guys. Yoshi Ray, Robert S., Brian Kilver. We got Fenway Park in the house as well. Darren Tiller, El Duque, Jessica, Raven Ron, everybody joining us live. Please smash that like button if you're liking the content, and feel free to reply below any questions. We'll answer them on this week's show. Feel free to fire away in the reply section. For Bryan Leonard, Tony Finn, I am Drew Martin. Best of luck with your bets. We'll talk tomorrow.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.